welcome to the Full Circle. Myself, Kelvin, here with the usual suspects, Reuben, Luca, and we have a special guest here today, Mr. Rowdy Sherman.
Yeah.
And if you didn't know, Mr. Rowdy Sherman is our creative director here, so it's a pleasure to have you here. Finally, in front of the camera instead of behind it. So yeah, we've got a few questions to ask you because I feel like you've been asking us a few questions. So yeah, we've got a few questions, but essentially here today, we're trying to journey into the past to kind of rediscover who we are today. And so we're going to be doing that for a range of conversations today and mainly kind of discussing friendships. And I suppose we're going to kind of delve into a couple other topics or even things that we haven't even discussed yet, things that we might be a little bit afraid to talk about still. How are we all feeling? Like, how are we all feeling since coming on this journey of doing Full Circle?
What, from before we even started shooting?
From before, content sessions, everything, like, from the beginning.
For me, it's been a good journey, you know?
Yeah?
Yeah. It's been good. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah. Started off not knowing you guys.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Nah, been good.
Yeah, I feel like we challenge each other, especially. I feel like we've come to be a bit more open about our journeys and, you know, where we've come from, especially as young men. I feel like I come into this like being very concealed, not as transparent, a little bit afraid to kind of show a different side to me, but
Is that how you see yourself? I didn't see you like that, you know, I'll be real.
I'll be real, I did, because to me it's just like, I'm not familiar with, you know, you guys, and so sharing that, to me, is just like, what do I get out of it kind of thing. I don't really kind of see the end goal or, you know, the bigger picture. But I think doing this with you guys along this journey sort of freed me. It's sort of really allowed me to, you know, be more comfortable in my truth, more comfortable in, you know, sharing some of the things that, you know, are parked in the back of my brain and not wanting to discuss, just to kind of protect myself, I'd say. I don't know, for you guys, like, is this kind of easy for you to kind of just talk about stuff that you want to talk about?
Yeah, it's this whole kind of setup has it's definitely helped it. I can be quite forthcoming with like my story, but I've kind of had to just strip that back a little bit and reserve it for, I don't know, people or environments that are kind of more worthy of the story, because it's kind of, you know, it's come back to bite me in the past, and I feel like this kind of environment, you know, doing this with you guys, it's it's been good. I've enjoyed it still. It's been enlightening for myself. And it's also, it's kind of showed me as well that, you know, things that you maybe acknowledge on a day-to-day basis, you actually rarely sit down and talk about. So it's kind of like you're almost on like autopilot with certain topics. So kind of sitting here and talking to you guys about it makes me realize that, you know, these are conversations that can be actually had as well. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's helped me.
Yeah, it's been real healing for me. I think part of growing and part of like healing is like understanding where you've been from and how you got here. But normally what I've done is kind of park it or like kind of just dismissed it. Whereas being on the journey with you guys, I've been confronting it. And I think it's been difficult for me to confront. Because when you confront it, you're confronting yourself, you know, your very true self, the things that you've been afraid to really feel. And doing that has just allowed me to just like really embrace that. And once now I've embraced it.
Sorry to interrupt, but does this help you focus?
What?
This one thing.
Is this, do you know what? I don't know why I'm doing this.
Like, that is a regular thing for you.
Yeah?
Yeah, this spinning the one thing.
I don't know,
does it help you focus?
Do you know what? I'll say this. I'll say this. I'm normally like a leg tapper. So if I'm not doing that, then, do you know what I mean? But I'm always
doing something.
I feel like I talk with like my hands a lot.
Yeah.
So like this is gonna minimize it unless I do this though. But
that's just a bit awkward.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really do much for me. But yeah, like I feel like embracing a lot of the things that I found difficult, confronting, has just allowed me to see strength in it. Because I used to think it was a weak thing to do, to kind of just confront those feelings that made you feel like ashamed, that made you feel like weak or embarrassed about certain situations. But I found real strength in that, because I didn't get to be who I am today without these things. And I've had to really learn from your stories, which allows me to put things into perspective. I don't know if you've seen that along the journey.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying. Initially, I didn't feel like you were a closed person or anything. I feel like you're quite forthcoming with yours, how you feel. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's particularly out of everyone, if I'm being super honest. I thought you were very open. The things that I did notice though were, I did feel, and I think I've said this to you, I feel like you allowed your past to really dictate the way you're kind of seeing yourself today, which I kind of feel like was often holding you back.
Heavy on that.
Something
heavy.
I've never spoken to you about it.
Yeah.
That's something.
Damn.
Like you, not to like, you know, reduce anything you said or trivialize it, but like when it comes to certain topics, you speak like someone who's been burned in the past. Like you speak like someone who's definitely like gone through it, and there's a whole journey and process behind some of the things that you say, and you can see it. So,
yeah. I think for me, I'm someone that I've never had an environment to talk about these things at home.
Right.
And I've never spoken to anybody professionally when it comes to these things. So a lot of what you're hearing or get to experience, even for me, talking about it openly for the first time. So even when I'm saying, I'm thinking, why did I say that? Like, this is a bit too much oversharing, but I have to be open in my truth, man. I've got to be, acknowledge it and like allow myself to move on, because obviously you guys can see heavy. It was heavily dictating a lot of like how I saw myself.
Which is complete opposite to Reuben and Luca. Luca especially, I say, like, you know, you're like the opposite. You didn't share your story, you had to be probed more. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, say that again?
You had to be probed more in order to share.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Which was...
Yeah.
Luca's mysterious though.
yes.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, do we really know anything?
Really? I thought you didn't
Like,
feel like you got to...
I mean, I have my reasons, but just kind of going through everything that, you know, we've been recording this stuff over a decent period now, and I feel like he's kind of gotten away with it a little bit. Especially in contrast, and that's not in contrast to like us, and that's not to say that he doesn't have a story, because he has a story. But I don't know. I feel like he's gotten away with it a little bit.
When you say gotten away with it, what do you mean?
Like you just dipped. I feel like you just dipped your toe a little bit.
I see.
Like
In terms of sharing his life.
a little bit, yeah. I feel like whereas the rest of us are like drenched to an extent anyway, you just kind of got your feet wet.
I mean, if there was one episode where I would have drenched my whole leg, it would have been the Milestones and Moments episode. Because that was best suited for my story. Other than that, I didn't really feel like there was a right time for me to really indulge. It didn't naturally come. And if it did, I wouldn't be afraid to say it. But I agree with you in a certain sense. But nothing I've spoken is lies, you know.
I mean, the floor is yours still.
Yeah. You mean now?
I mean, we're here, like, we're to reflect.
You didn't start, bro. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think, is that really suited for this episode?
It don't matter if it's suited, but like, I feel like we've been on this journey to all do this together, and I feel like it will be a lost opportunity to not give you that space to do that. And you don't need the perfect conditions to, you know, share and open up, but I think it'll be...
I mean, I wouldn't even know what to start if I'm speaking about, you know, it's like, am I gonna get asked questions or am I just gonna speak about it?
No, I get it. Putting them on the spot probably isn't the best or most conducive way of doing it.
TV presenter.
Right.
Yeah. No, we'll probably, yeah.
I mean, if you feel free to.
Yeah.
At any point in this episode, feel free to.
Yeah.
We'll let it run.
We'll circle back for sure.
And then on Reuben, I feel like Reuben, obviously, as you've mentioned, you're a stoic. And like, even though you're very articulate and you really speak your mind, sometimes I feel like you try to disassociate from your heart. Yeah, that's what comes across to me. But I feel like in this journey, especially when you come to talk about your health and stuff, you really start seeing the colours of your heart come out a lot more.
Okay, I think I kind of see what he means.
Yeah.
So I feel like what you do as a profession allows you to have like the antidote for a lot of things.
Right.
And I've seen a difference for where you put your profession aside when it comes to speaking about certain things to where it's you. Do you know what I mean? I see that difference. Yeah, I don't know if that's what...
Yeah, essentially what I'm saying, like, I see you intellectualize a lot of the things that you're going through, or do you know what I mean? Which I hear, do you know what I mean? But it almost feels like you do it as a protective barrier sometimes. And it's been nice to see, you know, the inner child almost, like, do you know what I mean, share what he feels as a raw emotion. Do you know what I mean? So I thought that's been...
I hear that. I hear that. It's easier to illustrate all of that stuff when you know how to say it. I found in my experiences anyway. And I would say, you know, if you're asking me to kind of self-analyze, it definitely offers a buffer to what I've experienced, like talking about it in a way that, you know, I feel like I am able to talk about what I've been through without having to like relive it per se. I get what you guys are saying, so I can't say I disagree.
Yeah, I think even for yourself, what do you feel like you've noticed about yourself on this journey?
You know what's mad? It's been crazy because I've intentionally made this about you guys. Do you know what I mean? And so I haven't really shared my own personal life because I just didn't ever feel like it was pertinent to. But in terms of what I've learned, I just feel like from watching you guys, especially people from ends, there's a lot. I feel like we just need more spaces to speak. That's like one thing that's really hit me from this. Like, if there's more spaces for people like ourselves to actually just speak as ourselves without any judgment. Yeah, we can laugh and crack jokes and, do you know what I mean, banter each other, which is nice. But if there's more space for us to actually speak and just reveal who we are, I feel like there's a lot of learning and there's a lot of growth that can come from that. And that's what I've really learned just watching, you know, coming from and just listening to you guys. And I feel like the world needs to understand that in a way more. Yeah, they need to take that more seriously. Like, life is, even like talking about that money episode, the world is more than just money and what we're achieving. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are human beings that are going out into the world on a daily basis to try and achieve these things, and they got emotions and they got wants, they got needs. and talking to you guys and speaking on this, that's very clear. Like you can't disassociate one from the other, and I feel like too many times we do that because we need to pay bills, we need to do this, we need to do that, which is, I hear it and it's valid because we all do it, but I feel like these type of spaces need to be created on a more regular basis.
I remember like Portia would tell me her plan was to create a safe space for young people, and she say it a lot, and in my head I never really pictured what that would look like. And right up, and even when we were doing the content sessions, it was more of a thing where I can't think about what this is gonna be like. I just gotta see when we actively do it. Now, a safe space for people to talk, for men to talk. This is what I think of when I picture that, and it all makes sense. It's like the dots are connected. It's a very much. It's what I imagined it to be, but for the longest I didn't really know.
Yeah.
Safe space, just to talk, just to chat. It wasn't really, unless I'm doing it with friends, or more of a natural thing. But in a situation like this, it's really interesting to see how it turned out, and the dots are sort of connected now in terms of what Portia had in mind for this project. So I think it's been great. It's been really, really enlightening.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. I agree. But I've got one question though. See, the jump from the content sessions to actually production and what we're doing now, what was the hardest thing for you guys?
Chemistry. 100%. Yeah, 100% chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah, chemistry. For me,
No, I don't think so.
you don't think so?
No.
I feel like there's a few things that play into the chemistry. Once the camera started rolling, it was like, it wasn't authentic and it didn't flow. It took until the following episodes or the following week for everything to kind of start coming out a little bit, because the chemistry was a bit flat. It was very like, think piece 1, think piece 2, think piece 3, question, think piece 1. Did you get it? It was just very like, it wasn't, it didn't flow. It didn't flow. It didn't feel like a collaborative thing. It just felt like a few individuals put here to say X, Y, Z. And I feel like especially after the second week, it kind of got better. We all kind of started letting our hair down a little bit, and then the chemistry kind of just, I think by the Pride episode, I feel like that's when we really got going. So I don't know, maybe you might see it differently, as maybe that's not the chemistry, maybe that's, the impact of the camera, let's say. Because it's not like the chemistry wasn't there. We had the chemistry in the contact sessions. We was busting jokes. We were saying all sorts of stuff. It was fine. But the minute the camera came, it kind of changed. So maybe me mistaking it for chemistry is maybe the camera or the impact of the camera. But in terms of just how fluid we were as a trio, or as a four, that didn't come till later.
Yeah, there's definitely a significant difference between the first episode and this one. Big difference. It was more, as you said, more kind of forceful, I think.
Yeah.
We put there speaking about these topics, like, but as time went on, that changes. You're not gonna get it bang on first one.
Yeah.
Unless you've been boys for time, which obviously none of us have been, so it's like, but I think it's been pretty smooth, to be fair. It's been smooth.
I'd say pre-production, I think you gave us a range of tasks to do, or exercises to do, where you really wanted to challenge us in when it came to physical affection, when it came to also like verbal affirmations with each other. And I could tell for most of us, kind of being put in that spot was a bit uncomfortable. I felt like you man were a bit too close.
What?
Yeah, just a bit. But no, in the exercises, isn't it? In the exercises.
Oh wait, but what do you mean by you, man?
Yeah, we're gonna get to that. But like,
I'm baffled.
Bro, why are you trying to... Bro, no.
let me land.
Bro, this is... What are you doing?
Actually, do you know what? Actually, no, I'm a circle back, full circle. I feel like where you challenged us to do that, I feel like that helped us to kind of question the things that were our norm. Like, why do we need to, verbally affirm each other in that manner that you asked us to? Why do we need to, give each other, physical affection like that? Do you know what I mean? It didn't cross my mind for us to do that. It's like, what's the point?
It sounded like you haven't contextualized. Like, you're saying stuff and it sounded mad.
Mad?
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds mad. Okay, so basically,
Like,
for context, because now it sounds crazy. Rowdy asked us to do a couple of exercises where we stand face to face to each other and we look dead in each other's eyes and we basically compliment each other for like a minute straight.
Point of correction, that wasn't the first one. The first one was just looking into each other's eyes.
Oh, that's it?
Remember?
Oh, it was.
That was the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy still.
That was funny, man.
Why was that, now we're here, why was that so crazy?
Because the looks this guy would...
me?
Kelvin.
Nah, you're making up stories. What looks? Do the looks, let me see.
You think, I can't explain it, but...
I don't think I did that.
Can we just catch that look?
God is watching. What?
Okay, cool. I emphasised on the lip movement.
A bit much.
Not a bit much, but like... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, nah, bro. You're spitting, bro. Continue, man. Continue, bro. Keep cooking, bro.
Listen, I was on the other receiving end.
No, when we done it in Mount View, I remember I've got...
Oh, that was the worst. Yeah, you was moving zesty.
Zesty.
Bro.
Guys.
No,
I think what Reuben meant is that... What Reuben meant is that I was very comfortable.
No.
Stop. See, no, you enabling him. You're enabling him. You're enabling him.
Stop. Wait. Let me land.
No, because you know what he's doing and you know what you're doing.
Alright, cool. You see how different he is from his professional self to his real self here? You see how it's coming out?
Man.
See, there's no antidote for that. But anyway, we're gonna get to that. Now, I think most of the time I was trolling because I just felt like you lot were
and you're
like,
saying
very
he was comfortable.
uncomfortable.
He was comfortable because he was trolling.
It didn't come across like that to me, to be honest.
Oh, I'm sure it didn't.
That's
what it was.
You seemed very... Like I said, it was just...
But you were standoffish, and it felt like you were ready for some confrontation.
Yeah, but that was a buffer. It was a buffer. Like, there's no confrontation that's going to come from it. It's just a buffer. It's like, I'll do it.
No, from like, I think what you're saying from the body language. It wasn't necessarily... Of course, there's not going to... It was nothing... There was no stakes. You know what I mean? But body language, your initial reaction to it, I think is what he's commenting on.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
I was just playing about.
But the aim of it was to challenge the norms, and I think there was resistance to like why we doing this. Like, nah, this is too long. Like,
It was a very.
Why did we do that?
Why?
Yeah.
I'll get to that. I will explain. Because as Reuben, but I want Luca because Luca was a serial offender in terms of he couldn't keep eye contact.
In the exercise, the eye contact.
Yeah, you struggled. You had the hardest time.
It's because I was laughing a lot.
But why were you laughing?
Because the whole thing for me, like when you lot were 19 as well, and you had to do that. Like, I know now you're a lot older and more mature in that aspect, but if you lot were 19, how would you have handled that? Would it have been much different? Or in the same way you would go about it now? Being face to face with a man, looking deep in their souls, telling them that
Alright,
the jump is
alright.
very muscle fit. you know what I mean?
No, this is not even that one. This is just looking. Even at looking.
Oh, before we
Yeah,
started
no, even at
complimenting.
looking.
The thing is, looking in someone's eyes, like when I'm doing up, naturally, when it's looking in someone's eyes like that, to me, my sort of confrontation mode spawns in me. It's not like I'm gonna be confrontational, but it's like I associate deep eye contact with a man as what are you trying to like, what are you praying? Why are you praying me? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like, if it was in an actual confrontational situation and someone was looking at me, I'd look at them back. But it's like you lot, you know, I see you lot as mates, so it's like, why am I trying to be looking deep into your eyes for what reason? So that's why I push back. I'm like, I don't. And at that time as well, I didn't really get the point of the exercise. Now I do a lot more. It wasn't making sense for me, so hence I was just. And the looks this guy was giving as well. Like, if
Bro, you're making it up. I can't even lie to you.
I'm not
you're
making
making
it
it
up. Like, I have video proof. I have video proof.
Where's the proof?
But like, yeah. Initially, you're right. The eye contact thing was hard to maintain, but I don't think that comes from any place of fear. It's just like, why am I doing this sort of thing? Is this necessary? Do I have to look into your eye? For what reason?
You don't think it came from fear?
Well, no, I don't think.
I think it did.
You think?
Yeah. What's the definition of fear?
Being scared to do something.
Something like that. What is actually the definition of fear? What I understand of fear anyways is like being ignorant to something and then creating a situation in your mind where. Do you remember?
It sounded like
emotion caused by the threat of danger, pain, or harm.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense, but fair enough. But I hear what they're saying, but where does fear come from is a lack of knowledge, innit? Most people fear what they don't understand, no?
Can do, yeah.
I feel like a lot of fear comes from that
fear
space.
of the unknown.
Fear of the unknown, do you know what I mean? Or going into like, do you know, I'm coming from spaces where you may feel uncomfortable.
That's ignorance, what you just said.
But isn't ignorance attached to fear?
I think more was some caution.
Yeah, like most people are fearful of what they're ignorant of.
Fearful or cautious?
You can be cautious, but then there's a point where caution and
Turns
ignorance.
into the fear.
Yeah, I don't know, but something along those lines.
So would you say you were cautious then? Is that a better word?
I'm just,
or-
he said fear, innit?
Yeah. I'm just kind of.
I'm just sort of like in them situations where it's completely silent and you're looking into someone's eyes and you're complimenting each other. I will just laugh and look away and start burst. Like that's sort of what I'd like to do. But it's like if I was you lot's age, it probably wouldn't be like that. But if you lot were 19, yeah, and you had to do that.
Okay, wait. So what's the attachment to age? Like, why would you be able to do it if you was?
Because
Older.
again, as you get older, you're more knowledgeable. And when you're younger, you know, lack of knowledge on certain things can mean that you portray certain ignorance towards it, which can lead you to doing certain things like looking away or laughing and them sort of things. When you're older, you can perhaps grasp the situation more, know the benefits of it, and that can lead to you having a more, maybe having more composure in the situation, you know. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know, you know.
I think trolling them was fun still because
Yeah, you enjoyed
it felt like it provoked more of a reaction, and I think that spoke more about you guys than it did of me when I was trolling. It did still.
How?
Look at the face you're making.
Yeah, but how? Because you're really trying to get off like scot-free.
Scot-free how?
You used this to get a kick. Like, you used it to get a rise. No one did the distance, what do you call it, the activity for its intrinsic purpose.
I did.
You didn't?
At first, yeah.
Because you used it as an opportunity to troll.
No, at first I did, yeah. And I was comfy in that.
Are you believing the story?
Well, I feel like you sort of troll without realising you're trolling. Or
No, he realises. Don't do that. No, he realises.
Or you do realise you're trolling, but you're just acting oblivious to it.
Yeah, look at him now, arms up like he's some guy, bro. You know what you're
product
doing.
manager,
This is
bro.
insecurity speaking right here.
Product manager, man.
Yeah?
Control all this.
Well done. You can fool them, you can't fool me, bro.
I will say though, aside from like trolling and stuff like that, we got deep into a few topics where like it felt almost difficult to even like, you know, to talk about. And I think there was some resistance to like topics that we had down as ideas to discuss, and we were like, no, this is a bit.
Do you want to name them?
A bit much. If they do it, I'll do it.
Wait, topics that were difficult to discuss? I don't think there were any that were difficult to discuss.
I'll say one race. On the topic of race, racism, I think that's a bit difficult for me.
What are we gonna do, like sexuality and race
Sexuality was another one.
Yeah.
Sexuality was another one.
That one would have been mad.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to kind of parrot the usual narratives around racism. And also sexuality, I just feel like, you know, everyone do your thing, you know, like, be free. As far as like, I don't know, as far as an in-depth conversation about sexuality, I don't understand what I'm doing there. But I think that conversation could kind of spawn out of certain innuendos that, you know, are present. Like, we've been talking in like parables this episode still, because I feel like there's still some tentative hesitancy.
I don't know. Which hesitancy?
Yeah, for me, look, I'm open to like sharing and stuff like that. But again, I think in as much as progress I've made, there still is some more work to be done. And I think that's something I've acknowledged.
Yeah.
I think even touching on those subjects, I think race for me is just a difficult one because it's just, I feel a lot of emotion to it. Just knowing my history, knowing things that have happened, knowing things I've seen on TV, injustice I've seen in this country especially, it's just a sore one. So me discussing that here, I might be a bit too emotional, you know, I might be a bit too raw with some of my thoughts and feelings.
Especially considering that it's a community.
Do you know what I mean? So it's a bit difficult to share some of that.
Can I ask though, is that because you don't want to be perceived a certain way, or what? Because that emotion, if that's you, that's you.
There's only a little bit, but part of it is sometimes you can articulate things in a way and someone could just misconstrue, and it's just like, nah, I don't want that. I'd rather not give that ammo out there. But with the sexuality, the main thing is I don't have the range. I'll be real. I don't. There's a lot that I don't know. So me coming here to discuss it, I wouldn't be doing it justice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit, you know, I'm not so keen on having conversations about, you know, concepts or people present who it pertains to. You know, it's like, imagine a whole bunch of, you know, white people talking about racism. It's a bit like, you know.
Hey, but I feel like people still have an opinion on things, do you know what I mean? Because especially the society we live in.
Yeah,
that was where I was coming from with it, do you know what I mean? It's all around us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A lot of things have changed in the last, how many years? Like, very quickly around certain things, do you know where I'm coming from? That affect our day-to-day life, whether we like it or not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like it's important to have an opinion, a healthy opinion on it, and speak on it in a way that's as respectful as possible, obviously.
I mean, I don't have a particularly insightful opinion aside from everyone just do their thing. honestly. So,
Yeah.
you know, and I guess the range of the conversation as well is like, is it even worth bringing it up if, you know, we are only, you know, there's no range to the conversation aside from, oh, this is present in day-to-day life. What do you think? And then, is it even worth bringing it up at that point?
Yeah, because ultimately, in the content sessions, what you're doing is challenging us, and I think you've challenged us in a way to like confront our fears about being open with each other, you know, being sort of affectionate with each other in that way, and I think for me, outside of the sessions, I think it's challenged me to be a lot more vulnerable with my friends. Also to change my communication styles with my friends as well. I feel like I was very blunt and, you know, a bit hard-hitting with my honesty, without trying to give empathy and compassion at the same time. And where I've come here to learn, like, where I've come here to unpack some of those things, I've realised a change needed to be made. I think for me as well, the main part is like self-identity. So where I've grown up being sort of the firstborn is sort of been like a birthright and stuff like that. Doing this is helped me to unshed that, like to really like just, nah, I don't want that kind of responsibility, everything that it's come with. I just kind of just want to be myself and not have everything I do fall on, you know, everybody else's shoulders. I kind of want to live life for me, as opposed to being the beacon for everyone else. And I feel like that was just an unhealthy expectation that I placed on myself, especially through like my parents and stuff like that. So I feel like in this process, I feel like I'm becoming more of myself. And in that process, still discovering, oh my gosh, actually, I'm like this. I do like these things. I do have boundaries, and I need to exert them in certain ways. So I feel like that's how I've been taking the content sessions and kind of learning and making use of that outside of the content sessions around my friendships, career and stuff like that, my relationships. But I don't know if you guys have been the same, where like you learn things from content session and just kind of use that in real life application.
I think it was just, I don't know, it's kind of outside of like maybe the mandem, and even then it's been in a very informal space. It was kind of just interesting for me to kind of have a more structured, a more dedicated space to this kind of conversation in general, obviously with you lot. And I was interested in how this would kind of come together. I'll say it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's different to what I would usually do because, you know, I'm sure we can all agree on the fact that we haven't necessarily had, you know, a formal kind of space like this to speak about this kind of stuff as well. And obviously you've outlined the fact that you've kind of grown and, you know, learned stuff from this whole situation. You know, you was talking about earlier about connecting the dots as well. I feel like I kind of had the same outlook as you guys as well. Like I've definitely kind of learned to kind of just, you know, let it out a little bit easier and smoother. And obviously you guys have kind of helped to contribute to the overall environment as well. It's not like the environment was just there for us to speak in. You know, we all kind of contributed to the overall atmosphere and environment of it as well. So, that's pretty much my take on it.
What would you guys have wanted to speak about that you haven't really spoken about thus far? This is to you as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Relationships, but not in the typical way you hear it spoken about. you know, like when you kind of consume content, it's all like red pill, blue pill. I don't know if there's a blue pill, but all of that sort of stuff. Who pays? Not that kind of stuff, but talking about like the nitty gritty of like, you know, I go through this. The same with we've kind of spoken about our stories growing up in school, pride, ego, all this sort of stuff, and then we speak about it, and you realize that we all kind of go through the same thing. The same thing happens in relationships as well. So maybe getting into that a little bit, as opposed to the whole like, oh, what should men do in a relationship? What should women do? But just talking about, you know, for example, your pride in a relationship, your ego in a relationship, just, you know, the nitty gritty things. But yeah, outside of that,
I'd have to say the same.
Think so.
Exactly the same, to be honest. I think, like, obviously, none of this who should pay for the first date. That's been rinsed one too many times. But he said it exactly what I was gonna say. He said basically. So, in terms of anything else, can't really think of any other topics I feel any sense of passion towards that we haven't discussed. I'd say what Reuben said. Yeah, that's the main one for me.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I think maybe self-identity and also respectability politics within my community and my culture.
What's that?
It's just like things to do with traditions, rules within your culture that you have to abide by, that you're born into, but you have no say or pushback into like whether you want to partake or not. So, for example, just respecting someone for the sheer fact that they're older than you. Like, I don't know about that now. I think when I was younger, I think that was just a stupid thing to do, because what if I didn't like the people that were older than me? Do you know what I mean? What if I saw them doing something really bad? Like, I'm supposed to respect them. There's a saying that tradition is essentially peer pressure from dead people, and it kind of makes me think like,
that is the same.
oh yeah.
So,
When you think about it like that, why are we upholding things from
the dead.
from the dead?
Yeah. Like in full effect as well. Like
Mad traditions.
So you lot don't believe in it at all?
I believe in some of it. Some of it is kind of courtesy and kind of just, you know, it's like a community type of, I don't know, engagement, interaction, whatever. But then also there's some of it that's just a bit like, you're an idiot if you're still doing this. Like,
Pure unnecessary. Like,
yeah, like,
left-hand thing. Like,
yeah,
left-handed.
Bruh.
that's left-handed, like, and now he's holding 16 lashes. Like, he's left-handed. What do you want? Now, if he gives you the drink of his right hand and it's all spilling because he has no control, his motor skills is all over the place. He gets another 16 lashes. It's like, it's just harsh, man. Some of it is just harsh for no reason.
Nah, I hear you though. I do hear that. Well, my missus is left-handed as well. Yeah.
She's not actually ambidextrous.
No, she's not actually. She's strictly left. You know, all can't be ambidextrous.
Oh, I said that.
He thinks he's better than us.
I know.
Because he's ambidextrous.
You know what I mean? Like, use both hands. Why have two hands if you can only use one? I don't get it.
It's true.
That's how I see it.
What, so did you learn?
Yeah, I taught myself.
That's cool.
So what were you originally?
Right. But I think I was born left-handed, but because obviously growing up in our households, I was told to use my right. So I always had a natural inclination to use my left.
Okay.
So sometimes it just comes out. And then as I got older, I was like, I've got a left hand, I want to use my left hand.
I feel like I would have liked to tap into Luca's culture a bit more. You know, see things through his eyes.
I mean,
That's it, man.
this is like my last actual chance.
Like, where are you from? Like your parents and stuff. Like, where are you from?
Like Northern England, like Whitby, so north of England. That's on my dad's side. Very sort of just my grandma, you know, working class British, very just, you know, English all through and through. You know,
Purely English.
pure English. You know, love her, great woman, pure English. And Yeah.
Is this your dad's mum?
My dad's mum, yeah. My mum's a bit more cultured. She's like quarter Italian, I think. She's, but yeah. When people ask you my culture, I couldn't even say it because like, I don't think I've really grown up with one. Just grown up, going, liking football and eating fish and chips and all that, going to the pub.
Is that actually your?
I'm not really too.
Your upbringing.
Well, that's what's associated with the English.
But was that yours specifically?
I wouldn't even say my upbringing was like strictly adhered to British culture. I wouldn't really say adhered to any culture. It was just all I knew, My dad can cook though. He could cook. To be fair, he would make some dishes that have my mouth burning. So for that, it wasn't just pie and mash every day.
Yeah.
And like. Yes, it's a weird one.
This is one thing I wanted to explore with you that I know you didn't touch on, obviously, because you mentioned your dad a lot.
Yeah.
But obviously, for obvious reasons, I already know that you don't mention your mum.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever really. I know that's to Reuben's point about like you kind of got away with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Obviously, you don't have to share if you don't want to. But.
Well, no, I couldn't share. I think it's just like I just don't know a thing about her really at all. So, I feel like it hasn't provided me with that level of comfortability in the family household that I would have liked, and I was envious of other children having, and I still have that resentment towards those that have that healthy, happy family in and around my area, and you can see that level of confidence that it can bring them. Being a mummy's boy and all that, it brings you that. I never got that. I wish I had it. And I couldn't rely on my dad for that because he was going through his own battle himself. He couldn't always be, it was messy. It was messy, but he did the best he can to not make it look messy for me, which I'm forever thankful for. But I think the older I get, the more I grieve about it, and the more I just sit there and I think, the more I get upset about it, the older I have. When I was 5 to 12 to 13, I didn't think about it. It wasn't in my head. I just got on with my life. Didn't think about it. It's crazy. Such a big thing in my life. Didn't think about it. It's only now that I've been 17, 18, 19, and I've really, I began to feel the loss more than I ever have.
What signified that change? When did that happen?
I think it's entering relationships with women, and you realise that it has affected that in many aspects, in the way you perceive relationships, because the mum-to-boy relationship is a key relationship in life to build you as a man, and not having that means that I personally just feel like I've missed out on certain things, and I feel like I might, in future relationships, I do worry for myself a bit and how I'll cope, not having that role model and that figure, and whether that will have its bad sides to it. But who knows? We don't know. I'm just here and I'm just doing the best I can to try and make it work. So yeah. But I've been quiet about it this whole time. I didn't really feel the right time to get into it. Now I can't really get into it either because I gotta go. But it's a very weird one. But I'm here. I think we'll just have to see how I hold up in the next few years, if I feel the loss to a greater extent than I do now, or whether I find a way to not have that envy and resentment that is kind of existing within me at the moment.
I don't know if I'm seeing like a connection between like that loss and you seeking fulfillment. Like, I don't know. Am I seeing the connection there?
I question it.
I'm not saying that's what it is, but you kept saying a lot in the early episode where you're seeking fulfillment, and we were trying to help you define that, and I don't know if we got to that answer or you defined it properly, but I don't know if there's something there.
I feel like there's something missing. Like, there's always been something missing that I haven't quite felt that true fulfillment. That I don't know if you're meant to feel that. There's so many questions, like, am I meant to feel that fulfillment? Am I missing something? Why am I feeling this way? Is it because not growing up with a mum? Has that affected me? All these questions are becoming more and more significant now that I'm getting older. So it really will be interesting to see, how I am in the next few years going into adulthood, really. Because you hear stories about it, take Prince Harry, for example, he lost his mother, he never deeped it until he was a man. And it's when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. And then my whole perception of it started to change a bit. It might get better, it might get worse, I don't know, but either way, I'm I can't complain. I'm doing well for myself at the moment, and yeah, I think it's spoken a lot. Boys growing up without dads is spoken a lot, but a boy losing his mum, I never really hear it. They're both tragic things and equally as bad, but it's just spoken about a lot less. And that might mean that I've felt less comfortable speaking about it, in a sense. Yeah, I do definitely feel the effects now more than I ever have. But it is all things that you can just work on. And, you can't use it as an excuse. It's life, really. Everyone goes through things, and yeah, I'm just thankful that I still have people like my grandma, my sister, that can give me somewhat of that female role model that I feel like I just do crave. And the older I get, the more I feel like I crave it. So yeah, I think
I relate to that heavily. I think, you see, when you talk about purpose and fulfillment, loss can do that to you. I get that, man.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
When you lose someone very close to you, it can make you really question your existence.
Yeah.
Life doesn't really come about the material. Like, it kind of becomes very
something deeper.
Yeah.
When there's something inside that's missing, and I'm trying to grasp it. I was speaking to my grandma about this. She's got a lot to say on it. My mum's mum, she's got a lot to say on it, especially how it's affected me. And there's patterns since I was a child, like isolating myself in the school playground. I'd sit by myself, and she said it would break her heart watching me do that. And I'd go home, isolate myself. And now I still do isolate myself, but I have something to isolate myself with. I make music. And maybe that's the escape, maybe that's the thing that's brought me this fulfillment. I don't know. There's just so many questions with this that I ask myself daily. But I'd like to say it's becoming clearer. So, and yeah, kind of wish that I spoke about this earlier. Now that I'm speaking about all this is the time that I start working 30 minutes. So it's like, I really gotta go.
Yeah.
But yeah, damn, I'm actually gonna be late.
I think I don't know where to even
Go. Yeah.
Because a part of even doing this is where we're opening up and we're speaking about a lot of what we're going through is what my fear used to be is, okay, I've shared this, I've opened up, then what? What do I do with all of this now? Where does this go? Because now I just feel like I'm sitting in this, it's here now. Where do we go from here kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think that's a question for... No, fair enough.
No parts.
But I didn't say it's like, what do I do? But it's more like, for people who don't talk, some professionally, or like, do you know what I mean? Talk in general, what do you do?
I think what he's saying is, you know, when you're in therapy, and it's like you've shared your thoughts and you've shared your feelings. What now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's a question then while we're here. When you, to either of you, when you have shared something to a friend or a peer or a partner, whatever it is, what was the outcome you were seeking in that? What was the outcome you were seeking? Which one upload from your chest?
Well, I don't usually unload things unless I'm trying to reach like a conclusion, or like I'm trying to, yeah, there has to be like an end goal for me to kind of share things. I don't really, I don't really like, I'm not out here sharing stuff with people to like no avail. Like, and if I am sharing it, it's more of like an update rather than a deep dive into what I'm going through and what I'm experiencing.
Do we need an end goal though?
We don't need an end goal, but that's what's natural. That's what's usual for me.
Sam was just shaking his head, and I agree. I don't think
isn't that what inhibits us?
Yeah, you're seeking something.
Yeah.
Sometimes, for me personally, just letting it go is just like, I feel lighter, firstly. And then from that lightness, it's almost like the answer kind of just presents itself in some weird way. I don't know how, where, but it could be in a book, could be through a conversation, could be just walking and just see something. You know, oh, I need to hear that. Do you know what I mean? And then life kind of presents itself, and then you just kind of go. But I see where you're coming from in terms of end goal, because I feel like that's how we've been trained to see things. You know what I mean? You do exams, there has to be a result. You do this, there has to be something that comes at the end of it, which is the very Western philosophy behind, you know what I mean, like achievement, and do you know what I mean, there's always something, which I hear, and that's why the West is how it is. But I feel like there's a huge detriment to that mentality, because you're always going to feel like there's something more. It is just what it is, do you know what I mean? And I think I got that from when, I don't know what episode it was, but when you were talking, especially in relation to like health, it's kind of just like, there's a place of just acceptance that I've shared this, it is what it is, whatever people think about it, it's up to them. But you do this for your own benefit, if you do seek benefit in it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and away from that, I don't feel like there's anything else to really gain from it, really, personally. But I don't know, that's how I think of it, though. I don't know if you agree.
So you're saying we're losing if we don't open up and share?
I think so, especially in today's times. Do you know what I mean? I think so. Personally.
Because I used to feel like I had a lot to lose if I like, do you know what I mean? Don't share.
Like what? What would you lose?
Just a sense of like, so my protection is like, if I can conceal this part and show what I want to show, then I can control my environment, I can control my outcome. Do you know what I mean?
And how that work for you?
I mean, it's harder work, just kind of putting up the facade, isn't it? So, is that sustainable in the long run?
Well, you can answer that, man.
Yeah. That's where it's a bit like, yeah, I don't think that's sustainable.
I remember in the content sessions, when we were, especially when we were doing those exercises face to face, and a lot of the bravado came out, whether it's through like you trolling or people, do you know what I mean, or people not look at that. And I think one of the questions was like, where in our society do we see this the most? Does that make sense?
As in, see what?
That bravado will come up, like especially when people look at each other. It's just to kind of, Luca's gone now, but the purpose of that exercise, which I didn't explain before, was just to get people comfortable looking into each other's eyes. It's very simple, but how many times, like we were saying, have you grown up and you say, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
How many times has that been the question? Does that make sense?
Yeah, all the time, countless.
And how many good things have come from that question?
Nothing.
I think is that what you were trying to make us see, that these things do not need to occur or end in, do you know what I mean, that outcome.
That potentially, but it was in this context, yeah, it would look like that, but that wasn't actually the intention. It was just because if you can look into someone, really, by looking into your eyes, I'm looking into my own eyes. Does that make sense? And once I get comfortable doing that, it's like that facade starts fading away that we're talking about. And I think effectively what we're talking about is authenticity. Do you know what I mean? and you can actually just be who you want to be and say what you want to say, and that's it. Does that make sense? And I feel like as human beings, that's where we need to get to. Otherwise, no one can really develop those deep, meaningful connections that even what Luca's saying, we're really looking for. Do you know what I mean? Like all of these things, when we talk about money, talk about pride, they're all protecting us from something. They're all barriers against something we're feeling. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not perfect. I do it all the time. It's not easy, but do you know what I mean? But effectively, that was the purpose of it. Like, can you just look into someone's eyes and just be there for just a minute? You find a lot of human beings can't.
Yeah, it was. So you guys think I struggled with it?
Not struggled, but I think your body language kind of told a different picture as opposed to, because I think you were willing to participate, but like the body language was kind of like showing like, ooh, it's a bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I hear that, and I think I echo it also. I don't. Is it struggles? Not the.
Yeah,
word.
I don't think
It's
struggles.
more-
I think you're doing what you normally, your natural instinct.
Yeah, like you showed out a lot more. So is that you showing that you're struggling? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Initially, you came up puff chest, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you did the typical thing that we do. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're facing another dude, do you know what I mean? You want to show that you're the leader in the situation. Respect to it, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like, and I know you're the firstborn, right? You're the oldest out of your three brothers, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I understand where that mindset comes from. Just observing, does that make sense? Like you're just not gonna come up in a situation and just be vulnerable just for vulnerability's sake, which I respect. Do you know what I mean? But obviously that presented itself in that situation. Do you know where I'm coming from?
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah, it was, the exercise was, it was an awkward one, especially when you started adding the affirmations, if you want to call it, because I don't think Kelvin's ones were affirmations. They definitely were affirmations, but it was awkward just because you're never gonna trip into a situation where you're staring into someone's eyes for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes at a time, and then going back and forth with like not only compliments but the same compliment back and forth where he's repeating and then you're repeating, and that sort of dynamic was awkward. It wasn't awkward to do. It's not an awkward thing to do to compliment someone, but it was awkward in the dynamic that we had to do it in. So yeah, that's what I struggled with, I guess, because it wasn't a natural situation. But I understood it. I get why you got us to do it.
Before we close then, from the content sessions to now to everything, what is something that you're going to take away with you moving forward that like has stuck with you throughout this process and after?
My takeaways that I'm going to take moving forward from this whole process, literally, I don't think I'm going to take away anything I didn't know before. I just have one more experience that kind of reinforces it, which is it's okay to talk. It's okay to talk. It's good to talk. We kind of all have a lot more in common than we'd care to think. And, you know, being vulnerable doesn't have to mean that you're vulnerable, if you get what I mean. You know, it's okay to open up. It can be seen as a strength. So, yeah, that's probably my biggest takeaway.
Oh, what would be my takeaway? I got a few, but like, I think echoing what you were saying, that it's okay to talk. And I think my biggest one is that you're allowed to just because. Like, there's no other reason. Like, you do not need to be something. You do not need to provide anything. You do not need you can just because. It's you. It's your story. It's who you are. And that's enough. That is even a full sentence in itself. Do you know what I mean? And coming into this, I kept thinking I needed to to always teach, to always dictate how things should go and try to control everything. But I had to get rid of that. I had to really get rid of that. So you can just because. Do you know what I mean? I think the other aspect that I'm going to take away with me is my communication style. I think we learned from Alex that, honesty without compassion and empathy is cruelty. And now going into any other conversation, like I have to, if I'm going to give honesty, I have to give the rest of the others too, the compassion and empathy, because it's just kind of unfair to not do that. And I think for those who I speak to honestly, I think they owe that. And I need to give that. I think we're in a time where people feel like they don't owe people anything. They don't owe anyone anything. And these are things that are intrinsic and they're free to have. But I feel like for people that I speak to, I think they owe that still. I think that's a standard for myself anyway, that I want to take with me.
Am I answering this as well?
Please.
I guess, yeah.
I've got a bit like you. It's nothing that's strikingly new, but things that have been reaffirmed. Like, I think it's very important to let go. That's one thing I've learned. That it's sometimes holding on to things, even for myself, like you're only serving to like damage yourself, no one else. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good just to, you know what it is? I can't control that situation. I mean, it is what it is. It happened. Do you know what I mean? That's been one. I've also learned that man them don't like to take off their shoes.
Someone said it in it, not me.
I've also learned that.
I agree with that person
We all
in
did
it,
it.
but I wasn't the one.
If you recall, there was a time where everyone was getting their feet done and certain individuals.
I feel like, because you didn't get to do that, I feel like this is the floor for you, you know.
Yeah, that's another one, but...
I mean, if we're talking on takeaways, I also took away that, man don't want to speak about pride and putting it to the side, but I'm very happy to pick at it when it serves them, innit?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because you guys seem to enjoy taking shots at my pride, right?
No. I enjoy everyone. It's not specific to you. Yours is just the most out there, do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's just it. Okay.
So people lack pride then, that's what you're saying?
People lack pride?
Yeah.
No, I don't say people lack pride. Everyone's got pride, myself included. It's just, yours is just fun to get at. That's just it. If I'm being completely honest. Yeah. It's just fun because obviously.
Do you know what it is? You provide the fuel. That's why. It's when you do it, we just keep going.
Yeah. Did I not say that with enough compassion? Yeah. Obviously, in this process, we will have.
No, we want to be. I mean, provide empathy.
I'm not above fighting you, look.
So yeah, this is the full circle. This is the conclusion, episode 8. This episode is a bit of a different one. We're kind of reflecting on our journeys from the inception of this idea to now. So I guess my question to you guys is, how are you going to reflect on the last period of your lives and what are you going to learn from it? I think I nailed that person.
Not bad.
It's alright, isn't it?
Not bad.
It's alright. It's ridiculous.
It's fine.
That's shit, man.
Don't get too close to it. Wow. It was so empty. So bare, laid out.
Allah.
You know.
Then that.
Get a weekend back.